On Pennsylvania Commonwealth Court Judge Patricia McCullough, she was overruled. Now, I'm just going to read something someone posted. In a per Curiam opinion, which I'm going to have to look up that name or that wording, that what he said. The state's top court ruled to vacate Commonwealth Judge Patricia McCullough's injunctive relief that would have prevented the state from taking further steps to complete the certification of the presidential race. Now, the reasoning behind this is very simple. If the effect you have is none, then there's no harm done. If the effect you have is none on the subject matter you're discussing, it is in everybody's best interest that you do not make a ruling if it has no effect. In this case, she had made a decision after it was too late, and on a subject that was after it was too late to decide, or more importantly, contest it. In the state, it had been decided to do the voting system and the votings this year a specific way due to COVID-19. Not to rig the election for Biden or for Trump. It could be argued either way, because again, whenever anybody does a recount in these contested areas, you find more Biden votes coming to the surface than you find Trump, which means you have evidence, real evidence, of voter suppression of votes for Biden, not for Trump. The absolute brick wall level of stupidity people are demonstrating by not acknowledging the outcome of what they're demanding being done is a little over the top. At this point, you don't even have to have the gloves on unless you're slapping somebody with it. You're ignoring what happens. You're ignoring the outcome. You don't like it. Okay, this doesn't even have to be nice anymore. I'm only running into a couple of people a day complaining across all of my channels, total, about this. Today I did a video on how to extract the time and date stamp out of TikTok videos because they try to hide it. That's the kind of thing I'm good at, and someone else actually partially solved it for me, but I ran across the same solution as they did. And I'm going to title the video I'm going to upload. Obviously not on this channel because I'll just do this as the video for today. I'm going to title that video, TikTok Time and Date Stamp, How to Extract It. And if you're not aware of it, well, you'll have to go look at the video. And if you look up the problem, the way I title my video, it gives a person a solution in the first sentence at the top of the video's description and in the title. That's what I do. Pennsylvania Commonwealth Court Judge Patricia McCullough ruling was overruled, and she did not file any new demands. She has been told no. And as a judge is not supposed to have a bias or act as a champion of some sort of cause. They're supposed to judge things in a neutral way. But people are throwing that out whenever it's convenient on both sides. And thank you, Marty, for posting that. Now, I don't know if this is a completely accurate statement because, again, I look at how to solve a problem. So I'll look up Per Curiam, I can't pronounce it correctly, I'm sorry, opinion. I'll also look at his channel to see if he has any biases, and I'll make notes below because that's useful. But the state's Supreme Court apparently made the decision about this. Also, it was because of request by the governor and another person, because they were tired of being told over and over again they're part of some conspiracy when they're not. And in virtually every single case, the people being accused of doing a conspiracy against the Republican parties are people who are in the Republican Party. But somehow it's the liberals' fault. When people ignore literally the outcome of what was demanded, a recount or an audit, and find out that all it does is show more likely Republicans trying to suppress votes. That's not always how it is. But if that's the most common outcome, at least in the states we're talking about, and you go out of your way to ignore it or hand wave it away, no one has to show you any respect in your opinion. We have to show you respect as a person. I will show everyone here respect as much as I can. But if you come at me, bro, I'm going to come at you, bro. Okay? So let's go on. Why do you care so much? And this is from Mr. Lane. Presuming it's Mr. Lane. Because this is my country, and what is being attacked in the form of memes and false information is an attack on how we select our government. This has nothing to do with Trump. This is about teaching people to believe that no matter what the outcome is, you can contest the vote of, by, and for the people by quoting or misquoting the Constitution of the United States and lying about why you're saying it. For instance, Mr. Hernandez, excuse me, but legislators could take back their power at any time they see fit. That's in the Constitution, buddy, not the new Constitution here. There is no new Constitution. You look awful creepy. The Constitution of the state you're discussing, Pennsylvania, established a long time ago as a state constitution, states that they have the right to pick how they pick their electoral college people. It also states the legislature is legally forbidden from taking back that power because the legislature would have it in their best interest to rig an election by deciding that nobody in the state can vote anymore. So they don't have that power. They gave up that power a long time ago because the legislature is composed of, by, and for the people. It's not a separate entity of legislators bred in some sort of colony thing from the Matrix. These are people like you and me who get voted in position. And unless they're completely taken over by PAC money, they're composed of people like you and me who have all of our best interest in mind, at least at the beginning. And a long time ago, in many states, they took away the legislature's ability to disenfranchise the voters. Every state has a ruling against this. It's illegal for them to do this. Just because the federal government's constitution gave, past tense, gave the legislature the right to do these things, doesn't mean they can usurp the vote. They can vote to try to do it, but they, oddly enough, can't do it in an election year. Virtually every time you would try to do this, that anybody would have a reason to, would be during an election year. And because of how slow the legislature would work, they have a timeout period that coincidentally is about this week or so in that particular state, which makes it to where they can't do it, Mr. Hernandez. So no, they don't have the right to take it back at will at any point. They have to have our permission. And if they attempt to take our ability to remove them from, if they attempt to usurp our authority to vote, that means that we can't remove our elected officials at all, unless we get their permission. So if you want to live in an autocratic world like that, I want you to get the fuck out of my country, because that's literally one of the bases for how this country is supposed to work. The country doesn't really work that way, but it's really hard for a politician like Trump to sit there with 7 million votes against him, or whatever it's going to end up being, with a majority of the population saying, get the hell out of there, with the majority of the Electoral College even saying it, and the majority of states, technically it's only one extra state, saying GTFO. And he can't stay in power that way. Now, I don't know if you understand that, Mr. Hernandez. But that means that we have a society, a culture, and a legal system, and a constitution, by the way, if you weren't aware of it, that doesn't say that the leaders get to pick the leaders. It says we do. It's not codified in the U.S. federal Constitution. It should be. Guess what might happen because of this? Because it would physically remove the ability of the Electoral College to be manipulated by stating that it will be based on how they wish to proportion it, but they must make it represent the vote of the people per state so that the Electoral College is fair. This is the kind of shit that hits the fan that force fucks that, and the legislators would not have the willy-nilly ability to do this, like you're claiming. With a black background, like a cat from the Silence of the Lambs, tuck it, baby. You look awful creepy. You're mixing up two different characters. I'm Zod. So anyway, let's get back to Mr. Lane. Why do you care so much? Because it's the only reason that we're not... Mr. Lane, thank you for asking that question, but if you don't get that that is one of the few things about the United States where we the people have the ability to rip people out of power, it may take a while, but we can do it in less than a year, and forbid them from ever holding office. And if they try to get around it by doing a coup d'etat, we're permitted to hang them by the neck until dead. It's still on books that if you have an autocratic dictator like Trump who won't leave office, he is in danger of being executed for treason. Those rules have never been removed from the books. He won't do that because he won't be able to survive it. I'm being very blunt here. We're a savage country. We're just more civilized about it. Do you want, excuse me, do you believe this Republican National Democrat stuff? Again, it doesn't matter. The committee of 300 decided who the president would be and deleting your comment. You're bringing up a conspiracy theory that's been debunked on this channel, number one. Number two, you're not permitted to repost that. I've already done enough videos about it, and I know it's a lie. Number 50 at this point. It's a conspiracy theory that was created for a short period of time to gain some political power by a group of people, and then it was left that way. That's like bringing up Barack Obama's birth certificate over and over again. It doesn't matter. It was an insult used to try to win an election years ago, and you probably don't even know why. If the elections are not rigged, how did George Bush Jr. win? He won by popular vote and or the Electoral College. I understand this. After his father. Then the state where is a problem was Florida. The state was a Republican. Brother was governor. It wasn't fixed. To be blunt, I've actually analyzed this, and yeah, it looks suspicious as hell, but honestly, Gore lost by popular vote or unpopular opinion. But anyway, no, the legislature cannot take it back, and no, there's no committee of 300, and no, Mossad didn't do the election in 9/11. Hey, weirdo, Trump will be the president, trust me. I don't trust you, Mr. Hernandez. Why? Because you ignore my country's rules and laws that are of, by, and for the masses. We are a mob that controls the government. The government and our Constitution mediate the mob factor. This year, it's not as mediated. I could tell she never discovered girls in your life. Did you think you won? You never won. You ain't a winner. Clean the swamp. Swampy. Deleted. This has nothing to do with anything else. It's, you want Trump to win, that's fine. Vote better next time. You should put more flags on your thing. Next. It's not over until the electors sing. Why would you back any claim until the actual vote is announced? And this is Mr. Take. Can't tell if that's the correct one. Because, to be blunt, the outcome of the electoral vote is required to be based on what the states announced. They have certified the vote. If the Electoral College members decide to become faithless, and vote against the will of the people, they are in deep trouble. In each of the states, yes, I've checked on it, they're simply replaced the instant they do it. They are not allowed to ignore the vote of the people. So it is effectively understood and known. It just isn't done completely. It's a ceremony. This is a leftover from the 1800s when people didn't have the internet. Okay? Actually, it's older than that. We're not in the Pony Express era. We use instant message. Try to hold off until the real outcome. The real outcome for the election has been decided by each state, and they're a little insulted by your attitude. And again, we have people here who are trying to get rid of our voting system. Lock up Biden for coup attempt. Trump did an actual overt coup attempt by refusing to leave. But he's not guilty of it. He isn't, unless he refuses to leave. Biden did not do a coup attempt. Mr. Garcia. Paying Chinese and Serbians Dominion text to transfer 80% of Trump votes to Beijing. But that actually didn't happen, and it's not possible. I've already debunked that. Next thing is, you can actually talk about what he's done that seems questionable. Lying about things makes you look like a fool. If your only method for undoing an election you lost is to tell lies about your opponent, that strengthens their position. Charedo Garcia is the name he's using here. I'm sure it's an alias, so I'll just use that. Why are you repeating things on purpose that have never been true? I mean, there's plenty of reasons to decide you don't like Biden. You could even touch on technicalities in the elections and say, yeah, we should actually fix the election system, and maybe he should lose the election. No, you go for claims that have been debunked a billion times. Why is the tactic with truthers always to deliberately go out of their way to look for things that are not true or not able to be proven? Is your position so weak that you have to make it look crazy just so you can hear me say, that's stupid or crazy? These are tactics you use to try to make me look bad by critiquing you. But it's not working. You're just showing up as a fool. A couple of these people have good ideas here. Real discussions. You don't. Good day.